And now it is time to thank our patrons. So, starting off with the House of Stone, we have Allison Connors,
Krisha Dolan,
Liv Matlin,
Melissa Russell. And
then we would also like to welcome to the House of Stone new patrons Alexander Eagleson,
Aaron Navarro.
Hey, Aaron. Aya Kamira Kwan.
Fighting Chance Studio.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I do remember you.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, and now for the House of Flame, we have Birdie Tam,
Cheryl Eisenhower,
Corey Little. Hi, Corey.
Cynthia Johnson,
Francie Dillon,
JS,
Katie Grant,
Natalie Curry,
Pokala,
and Spaghetti Sandwich.
Spaghetti Sandwich. And now for this week's blessing. May your trim always be clean.
Actually, with my new code from Manscaped.
Donte, this isn't the time for your ad. Go watch your videos. Go watch his videos.
Sorry, I have a code from Manscaped.
Okay, good. Today on the Mud Peddler, we are doing a mid-year review. It's a little bit late since it is technically the 7th month of the year, not the 6th month of the year.
It's same.
Yeah, same.
Same.
Yeah. But if by any chance, listeners, you're hearing like a tapping sound in the background, it's because the shades are down. So my apologies. And if you're hearing a whirring sound, it's because we turned the fan on because it was too hot last time.
My phone turned off because it was so hot.
Yeah.
We were hotboxing literally ourselves for you guys.
Yes, and we decided to not punish ourselves that much.
Yeah, we were like, you can stand a couple of fan noises for us to not be in a 106-degree oven.
Yeah, so hopefully that's not too much of a trouble for you. But anyway, so we're just going to be talking a bit about what our goals were for checking in on the goals that we had set up at the beginning of the year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember setting up these goals knowing that I would fail most of them. I 100% remember that.
Well, you also knew that you were going to have a little one on the way, so
yeah,
that makes sense.
She's fantastic and angry and strong.
Oh.
Just like me.
Oh, hell yeah.
But she's a girl, so she's going to get away with a lot more. And she has like blue eyes and curly hair, and I'm like, oh no.
She's going to be... I mean, she's already adorable.
She could murder someone, and she'd be like, please don't convict me. And you'd be like, oh, all right.
I do not believe that you would allow yourself to raise an uwu girl, but...
That's fair. She'd look the cop in the eyes and be like, I did that, and he deserved it because he didn't put his grocery shopping cart away.
Yeah.
Scum.
Anyway, well, speaking of the fact that you have a child now, you have another human being that you are responsible for, do you want to talk about...
All of mine are like, I had baby, and so those went out the window.
well, what were some of the ones then that went out the window, and like what were some of the ones that still made it through? Because I think part of the reason I think it'll be interesting for people to hear about what your experiences are as a parent navigating this is that I know there are a lot of folks who are parents who are either wanting to get into pottery or who already are, you know, ceramic artists or whatever. So I'm curious what your experience has been. So like what have you had to let go by the wayside and what's made it through despite the craziness?
You know, realistically the thing that a lot of people had told me before I had a kid is that like, oh, it's the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. It's not.
Huh.
It's 100% not. I'm gonna throw some shade here. I'm 100% sure that people who say that have never done anything worthwhile in their life. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know.
Oh my dude.
I know.
That is some shade.
I know.
That is some like 9th season of Supernatural Amara level of darkness. I'm sorry. For all my Supernatural fans out there, you know what I mean.
There's like a lot of, usually a specific type of person would be like, oh, it's the hardest thing. You have to stop everything that you do. You'll never do this, you'll never do that again. And like after getting to know those people for a while, I was like, oh, so you didn't do that much before the kid, huh? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel bad saying that, but I was like, you just went to work and went home and sat on the couch and watched TV, and that was your life. And now that you can't do that comfortably anymore, now you're bitching about it.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna.
It's not that hard. Well, there's a lot of hard instances. Like, they don't sleep for like the first 3 months all throughout the night.
Right.
They cluster feed for a lot of it.
Okay.
So, like, if you do produce breast milk, which is not everybody, right? You gotta wake up every 3 hours to feed them and change them and stuff like that. And that hits your sleep schedule. If you were the kind of person that slept through the night anyway.
Okay, so it's not easy, or it's not difficult for you.
Wussies.
With how you are. And also, like, you're also, you know, you are lucky enough to have a support system around you to, like, help with that, because I cannot imagine not having that support.
Yeah, no, I would not want a child if I did not have the support system and the money I have now. No, 100% not.
Yeah.
I would just end up creating a non-good experience for a living being.
So with it not being as difficult as people said it was, what have been some of the biggest reasons that you've had to cut back on the like just ceramics?
The number one thing
like
I had
your
to,
ceramics goals.
The number one thing I had to cut back on is that I couldn't be in the studio as much because like I can take 100 degrees of heat for 2 hours in my studio,
right?
And then be like, oh no, it's too hot now. I have to go inside. I'm sweating more than I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right? Or I can work with the fan or something like that. Or
yeah.
I can stand a little bit of silica dust in my face. Can't do that with baby.
God. Yeah, no.
Baby can't do that until she's like 3. And even then, I'm going to have to like put a gator on the kiln and stuff like that. So I don't get as much work done in the studio.
Yeah.
There's also the partner aspect of it where like, even if I'm around, me and my wife have different love languages.
Yeah.
Mine's very physical. Hers is very like time spent.
Right.
So if I'm watching a TV show with her, she sees that as love. But like, if you don't hold my hand in public, I flip my shit. If I'm not cooking food and you're not coming behind me as I'm like making you breakfast and cuddling on me while I'm doing it, and you're just like on the couch on your phone, I'm like,
okay.
They don't love me.
Wow.
Why am I making breakfast for them?
Wow.
One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't be in the studio as much when I'm watching the baby unless I want to put the baby on my wife, which has repercussions of like, you're not taking care of baby.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a bit of a cycle that goes on. It's not as A and B as you would think. It's not like, I can't do this because of baby. It's like, well, I can do this with baby, but there's other time I'd have to put somewhere else.
Yeah, like there's consequences to
everything you do.
Yeah.
You have freedom of choice, but there are consequences to those choices that you make. No, and that's the main thing. Like, the main two things are I can't go to the gym as much, and I can't record in the studio as much. I can't do things that are physical as much.
Right.
Because if I'm having my baby come with me, she would be in the way of those things as well. Like, I can't bench with my kid.
Yeah.
Although I do dream of the day where she's like 5 or 6 and they let me like, hey, can she come in? They're like, yeah. Put her in the kids center or take her with you. Just make sure she's safe. Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she just started sleeping through the night. So once they start sleeping through the night and stop cluster feeding, and then once they get past teething, it becomes massively easier. The way I describe it is that it's like a constant 4 in attention, and then it bumps up to like an 11 out of nowhere when they start crying uncontrollably. But that's like 10% of her life is she's like constantly crying for no reason. Then I gotta figure out why she's crying.
Right.
And that ends. But the other 90% is like, oh, I'm cuddling with my baby. I'm making her laugh and I'm holding her and like we're playing Destiny together and
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The way people described it is like your whole life is over. And I was like, not really. I just cut out like maybe 2 out of the 6 things I do per day. I think that's a better way to put it. I had to cut out 2 of the 6 things I do per day. But I think a lot of people who say like it encompasses your life. I was like, did you only do 2 things a day? And now you have to cut out both of them?
So I will say, just for the sake of countering, is that, you know, everyone's experiences with parenting are different. Like, I mean, admittedly, I can only say so much because I am not a parent. But I feel like throwing shade on people and assuming what their life was like just because you haven't had the same experiences is maybe a little harsh.
That's
saying.
Fair. That's
just
very
saying.
fair. I also have like you said, I have a fantastic support system. So it's very like, I totally expected to have it. Like, I thought I was going to raise this kid the same way my mom raised me. Where like she had a kid and then she's like, I will raise this child by myself. I will take the job. I will find a babysitter. All my money will go to this child. And I will raise them. But instead, my mom's like buying diapers. Yeah. And she's like, do you need groceries? And I'm like, no. And she's like, I'm going to buy them anyway. You know?
Yeah.
My brain was like, I got it. I got the kid. I'm good. But there's so many people who are willing to put their hands in the pot that I don't have to fill it myself.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean,
which
I
is
think
not everybody has that.
Yeah. So what did you have to cut out?
Sorry, I totally circumvented.
No, that's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Because I think, like, again, everything that you're talking about is giving context to, like, what your experience has been this last year with bringing a human being into the world, like, and being a responsible parent. So I think it's okay to add like the context around those things.
Anything?
I'm just genuinely, I'm like, so what did you give up? No. How did you, because I'm like, how the hell did you decide like what was gonna make it through that sieve of I have to be here for my baby?
I haven't been to the gym in about 2 months.
Ceramics wise though. Like what did you have to cut out ceramics wise? Because we're talking about like the goals that we had for the year with ceramics. And you said that there was a bunch of goals that you basically had to be like, well, nope, not this time.
Oh, right.
So I'm curious, like, what within the ceramics goals you had to be like, okay, this I can do, but this I can't.
Well, the one thing I had to really cut out is, like, I can no longer spend 2 or 3 hours a day in the studio, like cleaning my, like usually an hour to clean my studio. I can't do that anymore. Like I had to give up 2 or 3 hours a day in the studio. Now what I have to do is I have to take care of baby, and then one day out of the week is like 8 hours in the studio.
Okay.
And because of that, I didn't get to develop the glaze I wanted to develop, which was a point of mine.
What glaze were you trying to?
I wanted to develop a new glaze. I wanted to do like a community event. I wanted to like do a thing where people send me recipes and we raise them down, we change the recipe, we end up making our own like Earth Nation recipe.
Oh, cool.
I wanted to do one of those.
Yeah.
And I have some good glaze chemists in my Discord too, so I really wanted to make a standard. So I made a standard for my cups.
Right.
So like for my teacups, I made a bunch of like Earthbender and Airbender and all the bender stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because you were wanting to have like multiples of the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got the teacups down, but the bowls and the cups and the mugs couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time in the studio to like draw it out, experiment, do the thing, weigh it out, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. My mug trades have not been on point. I haven't done a mug trade video in like 2 months.
Oh man.
I'm about to do one fairly soon, but that was something I wanted to roll through. I wanted to like set up like Pottery Danielle and John the Potter and blah 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 blah, like, you know, but like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. How long was each one of those videos taking normally?
Oh my god, I just finished Jenny Webb's video, and usually it would take about a month. Because
Jenny Webb?
Oh yeah.
You're doing that film? Oh my God.
I have a mug from Jenny.
Oh my God, that's awesome. She's super sweet. Hi Jenny. I hope you're
nice.
watching this.
That's about, honestly, it's not that much. Like the things that I had to give up for my child I didn't give them up. I just kind of go slower now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still want to develop a glaze, but I could have done that 2 months ago, but I was tired because she was cluster feeding, and if I did sleep that day, I had to wake up every 3 hours, and you know what I mean? Or she had a fever for about 2 weeks, and we couldn't, like, there was no work got done during those 2 weeks at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I've been skipping videos because I'm like, I skipped like a video this month because I was like, I have a baby. But thankfully everyone kind of understands, but YouTube doesn't care. The algorithm don't give a shit.
Yeah.
The algorithm's like, you skipped the video, so we're paying you $50 less.
Jeez.
Oh yeah. I max out at like $400, $500 a month for YouTube, you know, advertisement stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube's like, if you miss a video, I'm taking $50 that away a month.
That's crazy. So you have to set up beforehand, like, you have to, like, commit to how many videos you do a month? Or
No, I just have, like, so I do one video a week, and then with that amount of traffic, the advertisement gives me about that much. It averages out. But if I miss one, less traffic gets put in my videos, I get less advertisements, and then that money goes down to that amount.
Okay, that makes sense. So everything is just kind of just going at a slower pace than it would be if Astrid was not in the...
Just like you got sick.
I did. I got the Rona.
You got the Rona, so you know you couldn't do it for like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of that too was like,
how'd that feel?
It was not fun.
It was not lit.
Yeah, it was not like, and it's actually that actually kind of connects to like one of the things that, like, one of the things I've been trying to work on this year, which is doing a Etsy update every month. I've been more consistent than I thought I was going to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest thing with June, because and that's also part of the reason why, like, we missed an episode of the Mud Peddlers. Like, there was like a session like 2.5 weeks ago where I was like, well, I got the vid, so I can either like try and like push past this, because, you know, we have a couple like Night Peddlers episodes in the bank, which eventually, like, you know, we're gonna do
get enough
that,
patrons, we'll release them.
Yeah, well, part of it is it just takes so much time to edit a video that I'm like, do I really want to, like, anyway, making it worth it is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But point being, that's part of the reason why we, you know, missed an episode of the Mud Peddlers, is because I was sick, but I had been gone that first like 8 days in June, because I was going to the East Coast for a friend's wedding, and we kind of, with my friend group, we made it a little bit of a vacation. Yeah. And then I got COVID right as I was coming back, and then I wanted to, even though I only had like bad symptoms for about 3 days, I wanted to do the full 10-day quarantine to make sure I didn't spread it to anybody else.
Of course.
And then, of course, my partner got COVID, so I was like making sure he was good. And then I had like a family member come in from out of town who I like maybe get to see once a year. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna see them for like a couple days. Yeah. Well, no, I actually did get to see them because I had passed the 10-day quarantine by the time they got into town. Yeah. So so I got to see them for a couple days. But anyway, it just was like, between the wedding and then COVID, and then, you know, it was just kind of like, all of a sudden it's July now. And so the Etsy update did not happen in June, but overall I feel like I've been happy with some of the things I have been able to get done this year. But Like, so in summary, the main things that you have had to push back are the glaze recipe, standardizing your shapes, and then kind of on the side, there's been a little bit more inconsistency, like just a little bit more inconsistency with your videos because of the things that are happening with Astrid.
Well, I remember last year I wanted
Your baby, just for listeners, because her name is Astrid.
My child's name is Astrid.
Which is such a great name. I love that name so much. Anyway,
I swear.
that's something.
Oh yeah, so last year I wanted to find an editor. I was working with somebody for a little bit, but I think I need to find someone who's a bit, I wouldn't even say more consistent. I would just say more like, I don't know, I always imagine I would give them a video, they would do it in a day, and they would hand it back to me, and I would put it in the chamber to use at a later time.
Right.
But the person I was working with is like a bit slower.
So you just had different needs.
Just different needs, different time sets, different personal stuff going on, and I was like, it's not that I'm like firing anybody. I would much rather do the work myself than encumber someone who like might not need to be encumbered at the moment.
Okay, yeah.
Or like rather like I'd much rather do it myself than transfer all the information, because I feel like I could probably find that someone who's a professional at doing it.
Yeah.
But I think the person I was with was like, I'll do it because you need it to be done. I'll learn how to do it. And I'm like, no, I want to pay someone to just like do it and give it back. You know, I don't want to pay you for a cup and then you have to learn to make pottery. I want to find a potter and pay them to make a cup. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I wanted to streamline my store a little bit more, and then I wanted to make a new glaze, like a community event glaze. Mm. Those are my 3 main goals for last year. Well, I guess this year now.
Yeah.
But then my kid came, and it was like, wah!
Yeah, literally, wah.
Wah!
Wah. Wah. Oh my god. That's fantastic. That's actually pretty good.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I had a bunch of goals.
Yeah, tell me. Tell me about your goals.
So also
Tell me about the ones you didn't succeed in first, to make myself feel better.
Okay, all right. That's fair, I got you. So the biggest ones that I have not succeeded with are making booklets and doing a lot more writing for my work.
I see.
But by the booklets, that's more like I love the idea of making like a little, I don't know what to call it other than like a booklet, but I'm sure folks have seen like those small booklets that are like they're paperback, but they're like maybe, 35, 40 pages or something like that.
Like notebook?
Yeah, it's almost like a little like notebook, but I wanted to make a little booklet that had the backstories behind some of my sculptures, that had maybe sections of like my sketchbook or something. I basically wanted to have like a print book of some of my work that combines images of my work with the stories behind them, or the process behind them. And I have not done that yet.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That seems harder than, I think, to a lot of people. They're like, yeah, just write, sit down, make some stories.
It's like, no.
Harder.
Like, the writing itself is difficult. And then for me, where I often get stuck is the technical aspect of things, like making sure that, the images are in the right file type and the right image size and the right, making sure that when I'm actually having the book printed that I have the measurements right so nothing ends up, there's like, it's not over the bleed. Now, fortunately, I have a boyfriend who does graphic design, so he could probably help me out with that more. It's just I haven't gotten to the point of even having written enough to fill a book unless I took the writings off of my website and then printed them and then added a few more things, which I still might do because I kind of like, I still want to do that, but realistically that's going to be a 2023 goal because this year, the rest of this year is pretty much me just like getting ready for SAC Anime, getting ready for the holidays, and then getting ready for SAC Anime Winter, which I hope I get into, but I don't know yet. So I think that's the biggest thing that I have not succeeded on. Another big thing was bringing somebody else into the studio to help me with some things. And I kind of feel like I know what you mean in terms of like bringing somebody else in. Like, because when you had an editor there, it's like anytime you bring somebody else into your like work routine, that's another person's schedule you're having to work with, that's like another personality trait, that's another, it's like all these things. And even though I have a few people that I know would be excellent in assisting me because I know them, one of them used to be my coworker, another one is somebody who also does ceramics that's a part of my critique group, and both of these people would have like offered to help, but I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'll follow up with you on that, and then I just don't. Because I'm like, whenever, because I don't know, because like I'm not on a consistent enough schedule to be able to, to be able to do it. I have like a block about, scheduling that time with someone, but I know that it would be helpful But
For you.
For me, yeah,
Yeah.
because like because when I have an update, it takes me a few days of just packaging things, writing all the little thank you notes, just physically wrapping everything takes a couple days. And if instead of doing that, I could be back on the wheel making more product, that would save me time. That's another probably big thing. Oh, wait, no, there's 3 things. Okay, so 3 big things.
I'm here for it.
Okay, 3 big things that I didn't get done. There is making a booklet.
Okay.
And like with more of my writings.
Okay, that's one.
There's bringing somebody else in to assist me with like packaging, mostly packaging things.
Yep, that's
and
number
then,
2.
And then the third one is slip casting. And Lord knows I have been putting this off for years. I know. Don't you give me that look, Donte. Don't you give me that look. Because I do not have the patience to make as many dragon egg mugs as there is demand for, but I really want to be able to make more dragon egg mugs, and I just can't.
I also want to slip cast.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Yeah. No, so does Tasha.
I
Tasha
would
and
also like to slip cast, but no, I don't want to.
do it.
I just want to do small
Yeah.
It's a gateway. This is a gateway drug right here. I just want to I don't know. I want to make fancier handles, but I don't want to make a fancy handle every time.
Right.
And so I'm just why don't I just pour one? I know how to make slip. It's not hard. It's just.
Well, slip casting is its own whole different thing. That's one of the first things I learned when I interned with Iana Frisbee.
Yeah.
Is that the slip that you make for regular scoring and slipping and attaching things is not the same thing as casting slip.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
It is different. So, and that's one of the biggest things.
I've done
is
slip casting before though, and I've just never
Well, I mean,
I didn't question the slip, I guess.
Maybe it depends on maybe making a handle you could get away with using regular slip, but for other things you can't because the shrinkage rate's different. You can there's a bunch of things that make casting slip different from regular slip. For me, the biggest thing is figuring out how to actually make the mold because my work has a bunch of undercuts and I'm not sure how to make a mold to either deal with those undercuts or how to it's just there's just a I start thinking about it, my mind goes because even thinking about okay, how do I need a container that I use to pour the mold into and to right? But then, where do I get those materials? Oh, do I need to build it? Do I need to then go to Ace Hardware or Home Depot
for the plaster?
To buy, well, not the plaster. The plaster is no worries. I just get that from Alpha Fire Arts.
Right.
Tracking back the steps, I get overwhelmed and then I don't make any progress. And again, now it's kind of that point where, well, for the rest of the year, I really need to be focusing on just pumping out as much as I can between now and January to have enough supply. So I can't really unless I wanted to take a weekend off, I can't really spend the time to do that R&D, research and development for slip casting.
We have to find someone who's good at, you know what I mean? Someone who's good at it, knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So we can learn from them. So I can then be I can do this now.
Yeah.
And then choose not to.
But at least you'll have that skill under your belt.
I'll have the skill. I'll have the tool on my belt to build the house. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. I feel like I need someone to hold my hand through the process, which is I mean, maybe we can find that person, but
we maybe
can. It's I
could put out a call to action on the internet, on the interwebs, on the Google.
But I need someone to do it in person because I have all the instructions. I literally have everything I need to learn how to take the steps. I just haven't taken the steps. So those are the areas I've failed this year terribly.
What are the areas you succeeded in?
All right, so the biggest thing I'm proud of is finally getting my Patreon done. Actually getting my Patreon
I remember
up.
talking about that.
Yes, that was a huge thing.
Yep.
Getting that actually up and running was, huge. The learning curve for it has been pretty good, too. I think overall I've learned what pretty much you told me would happen, which is that you make a bunch of content or you spend a lot of time on content, and then, nobody looks at it.
I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm but I think...
Vent about it.
No.
Vent about it.
I'm not really that upset about it because honestly,
I'm upset.
I don't really look at anybody else. I do the same thing. It's very rare that I look at that I specifically go to Patreon looking for the extra the extra things that I get to see as a patron. There's one person on Patreon, and that's because they make really good queer fan art, and I'm about it.
How much extra content I make for my patrons?
Yeah, that never gets seen.
I just released an early access episode, so they get to see the episode 3 or 4 days before the rest of YouTube gets to see it. Yeah. And these are my patrons. These are people who signed up and chose to support me.
Yeah.
And actively within the first 5 minutes watch the video. 8 people watched that video.
Yeah.
Which means that 8 of my patrons were like, oh, cool, early access. That's what I paid for, right?
Yeah.
I got 1 like on that video. The people who support me don't even push like on the button.
That's funny, but they support you. That's why I can't, like, I'm not gonna rant about it because I'm not actually mad about it. Like, I get it. Like, and honestly, for me, like, half the reason that I wanted to set up Patreon in the first place, like, other than obviously, like, having that extra monthly income really helps.
Yeah, that net is good.
Yeah, having that net's really good, but some of the stuff that I've written for my Patreon is the kind of material that I want to eventually put into, like, a book.
Right.
Either a booklet or, like, an actual, like, printed book.
I want to do that, too.
Yeah, right?
I want to do that so bad, but I don't think I have, like, the brain like you do for it.
Well, I mean, it's always something you can learn and, like, work on, and that's also part of, like, what getting a writing editor is for.
No, if God didn't give it to me, I don't want to use it.
Okay, right. Did God give you the ability to throw pottery when you were born?
Yes, but he was like, I'm going to make him strong and ugly and have hella endurance. He's going to look like a effing conehead, and he's going to be really good at one physical thing.
All right, okay.
He can blow backs out and make pottery like no other. Also, I'm going to make it so he can never sleep. He'll be tired all the time.
Great. Fantastic. Yeah, but you didn't know how to throw a pot coming out of the womb. So, you can always learn things. Okay, all right, Dante. So getting Patreon up and going was a big thing. A lot of the stuff I wanted to focus on this year was just getting into a rhythm with things.
Yes.
So despite the things that I didn't get done, a lot of it was like, okay, getting Patreon, get used to doing Patreon. Continue making the Mud Peddlers and the Mud Peddlers videos. Mm-hmm. Get used to doing, updates regularly. And the other thing I did this year, which is actually, like, it's so simple, but it's amazing how much it helped. For those of you who are on YouTube right now, you will see this, like, piece of paper that I have. So I actually wrote out a calendar where it's basically mapping out on like a 2.5 month view what I need to be doing every single day for those things that are those habitual things. So I could never. It covers like 6 different things, and it's funny because I literally had each of those 6 things written down somewhere in my bullet journal of like, oh, these are things you need to do weekly. But actually mapping out like, okay, well, if I wanted to introduce a new design into my lineup, I would actually have to order the stamp for that new design like 2 months before the actual update.
Yeah.
So even though that, like, all these things are things that I'm like, oh, this is basic. How could I not have done this? But actually I sat down with my mom, because she's always helpful at like writing things out.
Ideas.
She does have good ideas.
Good ideas.
And she's always like, she always brings out, I love this. Okay, so she always brings out like this giant like newsprint like 18 by 24 size piece of paper, and she's like, we're gonna mind map things. We're gonna write things down in big numbers. And I'm like, how is this gonna help? How is this gonna be any different than what I always do? And then it always ends up being like really helpful. Yeah.
Way better than your system.
Yes. So this has really helped. So I think the biggest thing, so I guess I'll go through some of those things that are my of the 6 things that I'm tracking. So I'm tracking when I do updates, and within that, the timing for made to order updates and like pre-made updates, right? Because I do for made to order, you basically order it and then I make it that following month.
Right.
Whereas for pre-made updates, and I always combine them, so I do partially pre-made and then partially made to order whenever I do an update usually. So it's like the pre-made order stuff has to be made the month before. The made to order update is made that like the following.
Right.
After the update. So updates, when I send emails about that update, so 2 weeks before the update, I'm supposed to send out a shop announcement email. And then the night before, I do a preview email for all of my newsletter subscribers. So there's that.
You're so good. Like, I've just, like, I post it, and then if you don't have notifications on, I'm like, you missed out.
Yeah.
Store sold out. Sorry, you missed it.
I mean, that's
You
fair.
do, like, an email and a...
I do. Well,
a beacon in the sky.
Well, because building the email list insulates me a little bit from the whims of the algorithm.
That is true.
Yeah, and that's...
Algorithm don't like you. That's not... Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that. I schedule out when I do my critique groups, because I do that like usually twice a month. I schedule out time for us to meet up for the Mud Peddlers, time for editing the Mud Peddlers, time for when I post to what tier of Patreon, because some tiers you get access to more or less stuff.
Right, of course.
Oh, and then when I need to order new designs, when I need to order new stickers, and then coordinating that so that I order my stamps and stickers in time for when I do my Patreon hard copy newsletter, that I have those stickers to send out with the newsletter. And then when I order my rubber stamps, that they arrive in time for me to then make a batch for that next update.
So much.
Dude, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, I didn't
It's a
really...
lot for, like, one thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much every single day is like, oh no, this is what I need to be doing. But what's really helpful about that is that one of the biggest struggles with like what we do in general is that there is no guidebook. There is no like, if you do this, then X will lead to Y, and then Y will lead to success, right? Like, there is not that.
For potters specific, well, not specifically, but for ceramic artists, it's not like There's not a formula. So we have to make our own schedule, and then within making that schedule, it's like, are you like just... I guess what I'm trying to say is I have a better sense now of when I wake up in the morning, I can look at this and go, okay, what does my week look like? Yeah.
And what do I need to be preparing for?
Yeah.
And have I done this thing so that in 2 months I have this new design ready to go?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, and being able to think out that far ahead is really helpful. And I don't have it... Sorry, I know I'm just like going on and on and on here. But like, the one thing that I still haven't quite figured out is how to navigate like how many pieces I need to make per day and what the day by day schedule is on that.
Yeah.
So that I can make sure I have enough inventory depending on the time of year. Because like right now, I have SAC Anime, I have the holidays. Oh, yeah, and within the holidays, I have like an October update that I want to do stuff for. And then hopefully I'll be getting into SAC Anime Winter. And I honestly have no idea how I'm going to make all of the inventory for that. Because normally I would just be like...
It's like 80 pieces at least.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like at least 200 pieces.
Yeah.
Like 200, my goal is 200 pieces just for SAC Anime.
Yeah.
But normally I would be like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just stay at the studio late and I'll just keep going. But my partner and I have kind of gotten to the point where he's like, hey, Lindsey, like I'm kind of tired of during the busy season, you coming home at 11, eating, and then going right to sleep. Like, I feel like I don't ever get to see you. So this is like the first year where I'm really trying to be conscientious about not screwing up my relationship because I love my partner.
I'm trying the same thing with the baby.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But
all of Tuesday, I was like, I'm not gonna work. I'm just gonna spend time with the baby.
Yeah.
And my wife. Mm-hmm. And that's it. But now today, I'm double packing because I'm like,
yeah,
gotta get shit done.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to navigate everything.
Yeah, it's if I could give relationship advice real quick. Don't get with anybody who doesn't have a hobby of their own.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that, dude.
Yeah, just don't. If they don't have somewhere where they can like go off on their own and do their own work without involving you whatsoever, don't. Just don't.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be able to have your own thing. And again, everyone has different relationship styles, and everyone has like different levels of like how much they want to like be doing stuff with their partner. Because like again, Cody and I do a lot of things pretty independently.
Yeah.
But it works for us, you know? Oh, I had another one that I forgot. Last one, and then I want to hear what your other goal was. My other thing was learning how to use Sculptress, which is a digital 3D modeling program that's kind of like the baby version of ZBrush. Yes.
You're making words up.
So Sculptress is, you basically have a digital ball of clay and you sculpt things out of it. And Sculptress is like the toned down version of ZBrush, which is what people use at like a professional level of 3D modeling.
Is it an app?
It's a computer program. It's not really an app. But the reason that I want to learn how to do that is because, again, I really want to be sculpting creatures more. Like, I want to do my creature sculptures, but as it is now, I don't know how to do that and still make a living. So I want to learn how to 3D model digitally so that I can print, probably not in clay, it will probably end up being like resin or some other plastic, but I want to be able to print my sculptures and then sell those, either painted or not painted. Like, you can either paint them yourself.
That's the goal, I think, for a lot of us, is to sell the work that we consider like, I wouldn't say non-functional, but like I have a couple big pieces that I'm
like more capital A.
More, I don't want to define the two. But
I
don't want to tell anybody like you put little faces on animal. Oh, you're not an artist.
That's not art.
I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to gatekeep you.
Yeah,
but
no.
At the same time, I think for me personally, there's a difference in between like I made this mug with a little animal face on it versus like I made a 2-foot tall vase that belongs in like an art show. But I gotta sell it at some point.
Yeah.
And I kind of want my I don't know fans, but my patrons to like have those things. And I'm getting to the point where if I can't make any more without selling the previous ones. So I'm like,
yeah,
maybe you're there too.
you could put them in shows. Yeah, but I want them to be more accessible to people, because honestly, I'm not in the kind of position where I can just drop $700-$1,200 on a sculpture.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to share my creatures with more people. It's basically what it is. And the only way for that I can figure out how to do that is to find a way to somewhat mass produce them, so that so that they're in like the maybe $150 to $200 level tops.
Yeah.
Like, instead of $600, $700, $1,000.
Well, I've thought of that as well, where I make like a really nice vase, and I'm like, it's gonna probably cost like $50 to send this away. So maybe $350, but then there's always that part of my brain that's like, that's a lot of work for that.
Yeah.
You know? But the other part of my artist brain is like, I just want to make more.
Yeah.
I just want to get better at my craft and making this specific thing. So I don't want to. I'm kind of looking for some art. So I think what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna post like 1 or 2, 5 things on my website on the next upload, and see like if people really want to buy like a really nice sake bottle set that's like $150. You know, see
Dude,
if somebody will
$150 for a sake set sounds cheap.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't have a comeback to that.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, yeah, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
One of my favorite people of all time. I take care to not tell her my issues at all, because she's kind of like me, where she's like, I can fix that now.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I think I may know who this is.
It's-
I knew it. I'm gonna bleep that name.
Beautiful.
Out, though.
So, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling her like, oh yeah, I don't remember the combinations I do, because I do this horrible habit that I think a lot of people
I
do.
remember you telling me
Yeah.
this. You don't write. That's like
I don't write
rookie
anything
mistake,
down.
man. Rookie mistake. Not writing
Noobs,
down.
dude.
Not writing down your glaze combos when you use them. For
Infant mistakes,
shame.
bro. And it's just like, I'll make a mug, right? I'll make a mug, and then I'll put a glaze combo on it, and I'll look at it and go, that's nice, and I'll sell it, and then I'm like, oh, was that one combo? That was lit.
Oh god.
So what I did is I told Tammy, and I told her this, and she goes, oh, I can make a spreadsheet for you. And I was like, no, you don't have to. She goes, I'm making a spreadsheet. And I was like, you don't have to make a spreadsheet. She goes, I made a hyperlink to the spreadsheet so you can attach pictures to each and every column. And I made a column, and like, she gets off on making like Excel spreadsheets, I swear to you.
I love that so much.
I know, she's perfect, she's amazing. And because of it, like every time I do a combo, I just send her the picture.
Yeah.
And she attaches like a picture to a combo. She has there's a column and a column, oil spot red and Lumos.
Oh, and then like oil spot red and this,
And
oil
then
spot
the
red and a
pictures.
different one.
Yes.
Bro.
Yes.
Bro.
So the other day I messaged her and I was like, what are the combos I haven't done? And she's just like, yeah. She was super like, I don't know what combos go good together. Like, I'm not gonna tell you. And I'm like, just throw them at me, please.
Yeah.
I will decide whether they're good or bad
Yeah.
or not. But the key is that like we need pictures for the combinations that you don't have combos yet, so I can know I already tested those combos.
Right.
Even if I've already done them 2 years ago, I need validation.
You need pictures of them now.
I need pictures of like
Pics or it didn't happen.
pics or it didn't happen. Honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was a problem that was fixed immediately by her. I was like, I need this. She's like, done. Took her 10 minutes.
Bless those kind of folk. I mean,
know.
like I have that person inside of me, but I just don't do the things. Like I love sitting down and like organizing things and like coming up with systems that work well so that I don't have to keep making the same mistake. But I do that on things that don't actually matter. Like it took me so long to get this calendar set up.
You overthink.
But let me tell you
Yeah.
how organized my art closet is. Like my art closet with
You
all
have
my
an
hot
art closet?
I mean, it's a shelf on a closet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's not like a full closet. But like my I actually wrote a little blog thing about this on my Patreon.
About your art closet?
About my art closet. Because I was talking about like
How deep are we going here, Lindsay?
We're going pretty deep. So deeper.
Oh.
But
My art closet has its own Instagram.
it does not.
I don't.
But with my art closet is like super well organized.
Okay.
Right? But like it took me forever to come up with like this. And it's just like, why am I organized about, or it comes in fits and spurts. Like I have a great, like when we did the whole Etsy versus Squarespace update.
Yeah.
I made myself a little Excel sheet or like Google Sheets or whatever the.
Excel adjacent.
Yeah, an Excel type program.
Excel type beat.
Yeah. So I did that, and like I spent hours setting that up and like getting it like and figuring that all out. Same thing when I was trying to decide, like, what was it? There's something else. But anyway, but point being, it's like my organizational loving self is very hit and miss. Like, sometimes she shows up and she's like, I'm here. I am ready to organize. Other times she's like, I'm going to go somewhere else.
I stay in my studio and I talk to myself and I listen to podcasts and I surf Instagram for an hour. And then I do like 5 hours of really productive work.
Yeah.
And then I have another hour of like walking around the studio going, what was I going to do again?
Yeah. I hate losing time to stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's the most frustrating thing, is being inefficient with my time.
Yep.
And like, oh, that actually reminds me. Okay, so I'm asking myself this question and I'm going to ask you this question. So, Lindsey, if you could...
oh, wait, you have the question.
I have the question.
I was going to say I could ask you, but like you have the
I have the question. So like... Because I'm thinking, like, okay, now that we've talked thoroughly about how we have succeeded and failed, except by failed, it's more about, like, okay, what didn't work out so well. It's not failure, necessarily, because that has a negative connotation. But talking about moving forward for the rest of the year, like, what are the things that we want to focus on? Because basically, slip casting I'm letting by the wayside. Like, I'm not going to worry about that until 2023.
I have slip casting.
Yeah. Sculptress.
Gone forever.
Sculptress I might try and still work on, but it'll be like a weekend thing. And getting someone to help with shipping is something I'm going to try and do at least by the end of the year. Is bring someone at least once just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Tell me, for you, what are the things that you are going to try and work on for the rest of this year?
Two things, right?
Two things. Okay.
There's two things.
The number one thing. The two things.
The two things.
Tell me.
The number two things.
Yeah.
Right? Firstly, you ever see Ryan Durbin's, from the Wheel Talk podcast?
Yeah.
You ever see his, like, mug wall?
I love his mug wall.
I want one so hard.
Yes.
I want one so bad. I'm either going to build one or I'm going to find someone to build one.
Yes.
Or I'm going to go...
I think he actually did a video on building his wall. I'm pretty sure.
I want to build it step by step.
Yes. If you don't know this person, listeners and viewers, it's RD Ceramics. Look this dude up. I will link him in that. But he's also, like, friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
He does a Wheel Talk podcast with Becca. And anyway, on his Instagram, he was like, it's like picking out a mug for the day. And he goes and picks out a mug. But he's got an amazing mug wall.
Have you ever seen his cat on his shoulder like a parrot?
So cute. So cute. Oh my god. Okay, all right. So you want a mug wall.
Well, I want to do it one at a time. So like I got the mug trade. I got one from Ceramic Sabrina, Ryan Durbin, and Jenny Webb. Right?
Yeah.
And I have those three so far. You're next on the list, by the way. And I want to like build a section. Ryan's mug. Build a second section. And I want it to be progressive throughout the channel.
Oh, that's fun. I like
know
that.
It's non-realistic because you'd have to build in sections. I should probably just build the whole thing at once to get it out the way. But like, I would love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want that, and I also want to just keep better track of my glazes.
Okay. But, you kind of have a system for doing that, right? Like what you're doing with...
Yeah.
So... Sounds like you kind of have that figured out, right?
I just have to bug. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, it's basically.
I feel
like,
bad bugging this. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Like, dude, you so rarely ask for help with stuff that, like, anytime you actually ask your friends for things, like, maybe I'm extrapolating here, but anytime you actually ask me to do something, I'm like, yes. What can I do? Because you never let me pay for the food you always bring me. We had pho today.
Here's the thing: is I'm not power hungry at all. Like, I'm very. Like, if I was the president, I would have given up secrets of the United States of America by, like, trading off boba recipes. I'd be like, China, give me your boba recipe! And they were like, here it is. I'm like, ooh, here's all our missiles.
Yeah. Like, have fun.
Like, I have no, you know what
it's not about power, it's about sharing.
I'm a very simple person. So because of that, like, I find joy in getting Lindsey food. You know what I mean? Because I like her enough to buy her food.
Oh.
But, like, I'm not, like, keeping tally in my head of, like, how many times I bought her food. You know, like, I'm just like, yeah, sure. Sometimes we go out and you're like, I'm buying food. I'm like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Or I'll debate you.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, yeah, okay. And then you've already, like, paid for it. I'm like, you son.
It's the best power move.
It is a fun power
Displays of power and domination in the smallest ways. The smallest ways.
Mr. I'm not power hungry.
Did you clean my bed? Yeah, I did. Wasn't even dirty. Just felt like it.
Just did it.
How'd you get in my house?
If I'd be a little squicked out if you ever came in and like changed my bedding. I'd be like, bro.
Now it smells like lavender and sage.
Oh, okay, maybe you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're blowing the back out and you're like, it smells like ass and sage. That's a good combo.
I wish I could make that the episode title, Ass and Sage.
Ass and sage. Did not like the smell. Swampy yet refreshing.
Oh God.